Hi, my name's Gerry. I'm a lifelong fisherman and a twin troller boat owner. This is my twin troller. Now, I haven't been on my channel in many months. Part of that has to do with the heat of the summer. The GoPros didn't want to record well in the heat. The fishing was terrible. Water temperature in the lower 90s. Fish weren't interested, so I stopped doing any videos. But why am I doing this one? Well, let me explain some things. Over time, I sometimes get water inside this side of the hull. It's kind of like a pontoon, one on each side. They are connected, but they're kind of separated. And I get water in here, and I have to draw the water out. Other people have had that same issue. Well, how do I get the water out? You'll see in a video that I did up here in the past of me doing service on the Honda that I do every year. And not too long in the future, I'll do that again. And I bought this. It's called an oil, 12-volt oil extraction pump. Okay. I bought it on Amazon. It's a pump. It's got hoses going in and hoses going out. This I connect to the battery on board. And one of these hoses is a skinny little hose. And I stick that to drain the motor oil out of the motor. There is another way to do that. You can tip the motor, or you can pull a drain plug. It really makes a mess. Not so much so with this. So this has been wonderful. And I was using this to get water out of the hull. And right here, I drilled a hole, a 1/2-inch hole on this side and on the other side, and this little plug goes in the hole and locks down, becomes watertight, and that's how I get into here. And I used to take that electric pump and pump out the water, but the manual says it's not good for pumping water, probably because there's a lot of metal inside the pump, and those gears and things will rust. Not good. So what have I done? Oh, I did that for a while, and then I'd run a little oil through it just to kind of coat everything in there. But I never thought that was something I really wanted to do all the time. Well, what happened? One day, I happened to find someone with this for sale. It's an extraction pump. This, you pump up and down, creates a vacuum in here and sucks water or any kind of fluid out of here. And it's actually made for doing oil. But since I already have one for oil and I really like that one, I keep this one clean and I pump out water. Well, the last time I went fishing, this comes off. The last time I went fishing, I had drained the area. I don't know if you can see this much at all on the camera, but there's a little bit of water. Off camera, I just sucked all the water out of here. And there's probably about maybe 1.5 cups of water. Not a lot of water, but it is an issue that I have to deal with on occasion. Well, where's the water getting in from? That's always been an issue. Underneath this boat, if you're not familiar with a twin troller, there are 2 trolling motors built into a well underneath the hull. One on this side, one on that side. There are pedals on the front here that I sit. I can make the motors go forward, variable speeds, put my heels down, and the boat will go in reverse, or at least the trolling motors will go in reverse. If I push one forward, one reverse, the boat will spin in its own axis. It's pretty cool. Works great. Well, there are grates, metal grates right here that protect the trolling motors and the propellers from being damaged or getting caught with sticks or some kind of hard item that might get underneath there. Well, occasionally I have to take those grates off because I'll pull the propellers off just to check to see that the motors are okay, that there isn't fishing line wrapped around the shaft, and then I put the propellers back on and I put the grates back on. Well, I just recently did that. And when I did that, there was a wad of fishing line on one of the trolling motors, actually this side, and I pulled all that off, cleaned it, put the propeller back on. Worked great. So now I'm putting the grates back on. Well, when I put the grates back on, they are screws, sheet metal type screws that go up inside this surpass resin, which is a plastic hull. And over time, I've had to put those on and off several times. And one or two of the screws are starting to get kind of wallowed out, and they don't really tighten up anymore. They hold themselves in place, but they don't really hold the grate very well. Well, what does that mean? That means that maybe there's water going in where the other ones are kind of sealed by the screw fitting in tightly into the hull. So what do I then do? Well, I put a sealant on them. So I put a sealant on each of the screws, on the threads. This one, and it's made by 3M, it's a marine adhesive sealant. This is 5200. This is a permanent sealant. I use that in places where I've got a hole that I don't ever want to open back up again. Not so much on the grates. The grates, I use a different sealant. And thank you, Amazon. Several days ago, I ordered 3M Marine Adhesive Sealant Fast Cure 4200, which is a semi-permanent. And it seems like this is happening more and more often. Amazon, even though it was supposed to be here 2 days ago, isn't going to be here for another 2 days, so I don't have that to show you. But I'm trying to show you the idea. So I'm going to try to fix that wallowed out hole. I'll have to pull the grates down. I'll show you how I do that. I have tools that have, over time, I have figured out what's the best way to get those grates, those screws on and off, because I do it while it's on the trailer. And the trailer supports are sometimes in the way, and you can't reach in there to get a screwdriver in there very easily, so I use something else, and I'm going to show you what I use. So what am I going to use to make those holes where the screws go in to be smaller so that they can grab with the screw threads better than they do now? Well, if you've never seen one of these, this is a 80-watt iron plastic welding kit. Now, I bought this at Harbor Freight. You can buy better ones. And I kind of wish I had one that was more watts than this one is. Not that it doesn't work, but it takes a while for it to get as hot as I want it. And what's inside here? You've ever seen a wood burning tool? It looks very much like this, or this kind of a welding iron. But if you look, it has fittings on it that are odd shaped, and they're good for melting the plastic. Now it comes with a whole bunch of plastic to use to melt, kind of like solder. Well, I'm not 100% sure that this will work well with this kind of plastic, but I'm going to try. My guess is it will work well enough. So I'm going to climb underneath the boat. I have it jacked up in the front. I'm going to climb underneath it and plug this in. First I'll take the grates down, and then I'll clean the surfaces where the screws are, and that'll show you, I hope, of me fixing this. And then I will, at some point, put the grates back on when that 3M adhesive comes in from Amazon, and I'll put the grates back up and I'll be done. Hopefully that will solve at least some of my water intrusion issues. So come along. Okay, let me just show you what I'm going to take the grates down with. I have a 12 volt, 18 volt, rigid, it's a ratchet driver. I usually have a 1/2 inch coupling on the end of this, and I can put sockets on it, but I have these things which make this job so much easier. They're screwdrivers, attachments, long ones, that go on the end of this, so I can reach up here and get these screws, even though they're a little bit difficult to find in places. And it's hard for me to get the camera in here to show you each of these screws, so I'm just going to show you taking one down. Wrong way. Now you see the white material on the screws. That's the sealant from the last time that I put it on, and it's a little bit pliable, which is the advantage to me of not using the permanent adhesive. I'm using the semi-permanent that I'm waiting for in the mail. And hopefully you can see this one. See, it's a little bit hard to get here because the support is in the way, so I can kind of go around it. And I've taken it down. Don't lose your screws. Okay, and then I just pull off all this sealant. And let me do the other ones, because it's the same way, but you can't really see it too well because I can't get the camera in here. And then I'll take the grate down. All right, I'm hand holding the camera so it will wobble a little with me holding it with one hand. And I want to show you something. So I'm using a regular screwdriver to reach in here. But you see how no matter how much I tighten this, it doesn't stop. It doesn't get any tighter. This is stripped out. So this is at least one of the screws that we're gonna fix. And if I take this out, the grate's gonna fall, so I need my other hand. So let me turn this off for a second. All right, so this is how I'm gonna start out with a flat blade screwdriver like this. And I'm gonna try to push all of the material that's here back in as best I can. Because it at least gives me some material to work with. Come on, get in there. Sorry if my hand is in the way or the camera is going out of focus, but all right. Let me get the iron hot, but well, it's cool. Let me make sure I can get in here, and I can get in here pretty well. Hopefully you can see that, and it's focusing. And I can get in here. Okay, let me plug this in. Now this kit comes with a brush, and we're gonna try and just clean the surface to get a better stick out of the material. That looks clean. Now I have also a green scrubby
I'm not sure if this came with it or I put this and left it in this kit the last time I used it. But same idea, just trying to prep the area. Just like as if you were doing welding on metal or aluminum. I think that this is hot enough. Now let me just touch it to the plastic, and oh yeah, it's definitely hot enough. And I took a pair of scissors and I'm cutting this in little strips just so I could hang on to it better. Actually, that works pretty good. Just trying to push it in the hole a little. Well, let it cool for a minute. And I dare say that that is done. Wow, that was fast. Since the other ones were working well, I am going to push the material into the holes like I did and just use that and seal it over a little bit. I'll get right back with you. Okay, here's another. I've already pushed as much as I can to get it flat in there. And I just really want to make it seal over. Wow, that works really well. No sense in me showing you every single one because they're all going to look the same. One thing to watch out for, when you're paying attention to what you're doing, this thing is this long. If you touch this, you get burned fingernails or burned fingertips like I have. Wow, that's hot. They blistered in a second. So try not to do that, it hurts. Here's another one that I just tucked all the material in and smoothed it over. This works really well. And if I can get this to focus, there it goes. There's another one. And another one. And as you can see, I have sealed all the way around the plate that holds the trolling motor in place, just to make sure that that's not where there was any leaking going on and the water was getting in. And I don't think it is. Those are pretty well sealed. Again, I'm hand holding the camera, so pardon the shake, but I just thought I'd attempt to do something. These are all the scratches underneath the hull from beaching the boat. And now I have these things on here that I put, because that's the worst part where it gets damaged. But I'm just curious what, ow, don't touch that hot, what this will do to these things. So I'm trying to look at what I'm doing and hold the camera at the same time. Actually, this is kind of amazing how well it works at smoothing this all back out again. So if I wanted to come in here with two hands not holding the camera, I could do this whole thing over again in 2 minutes, both sides. If you're interested in doing something like that, this is very easy. Okay, all I gotta have to do now is wait for that material to come in to seal the screws. So I will put sealant all the way around the threads. I will smudge it on the surface there. I'll put a dab here, put the grates up, and put the screws back in. And like I said, don't use that tool to get it all the way in. Just get it in and get it started, and then use the hand tool to put it in the rest of the way so that you don't strip it back out.
So I have now repaired those holes and put the grates back up. When I get the sealant, you don't need to see that, but I'll use the same tool that I used to take it down. However, do not run those screws all the way in with that tool. I just get it to get the screws partially in, and then I reach up with a screwdriver and I hand tighten them, because I don't want to rip through the plastic that the threads are trying to hold on, and then I'm back to where we are prior to this video, and it just made it worse. So if you like the video, please comment below. If you got any suggestions or different ways to do it, I'm ready to hear. If you'd like to try it, feel free. It was an inexpensive set to buy at Harbor Freight. Not a big deal. So thanks for watching. Hopefully there'll be more videos soon, and see you next time. Bye now.